Regain your financial freedom by grabbing the book 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, an Amazon bestseller written by none other than Dr. Boyce Watkins. Grab the book now. Also, heating up summer 2023, B1 the movie, starring Dr. Claude Anderson, Madam President, and Riza Islam. Atlanta, Georgia, get ready. The All-Black National Convention is coming your way October 2023. We had the privilege of attending an All-Black National Convention. It was an absolutely life-changing experience. To get a free Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Business School training on how to make money without working, text the word STOCK to 31996.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, Old God, from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Sam, and Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building on this beautiful Monday for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. We got a special guest in the building, hip hop, pop, and reggae icon, Sean Paul's on the podcast. How you doing today, family?
What's up, brother? What's up? Much love.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you on, man. The icon himself, Sean Paul's in the building.
Time, bro.
Thank you for being here, brother. Let's start off with this, man, because obviously we're dealing with COVID, or we dealt with COVID, still dealing with it in 2020. 2021 is here. I was hearing that you were in Jamaica during that time in COVID. So just talk to people about your experience dealing with COVID, and how was it dealing with COVID in Jamaica?
You know, crazy for me. I was in Australia when it started to hit, and I flew back 20 odd hours with a mask on. First time and last time since. I've flown since last year, March. So, you know, the first 5 months, bro, I just became like a little hermit. I didn't do nothing. I had to listen to what's going on, news reports and conspiracy theories and everything. And then I formulate my own thing in my head saying, okay, I'm cool with this. I'm not cool with that. See how I could protect myself and my family foremostly. I got 2 young kids. Also, I live with my mom, who's 70, and her grandma. My grandma lives with her. They live right next door, and she's 97. So I've been trying to keep this away. So I spent the first 5 months, as I said, just in a shell, man. And then I started to realize, I'm alive and I'm living, and I need to go back to the studio now. When a bus driver kind of loses his route, or even a taxi driver, you find another route. So I can't perform right now, but I can make music. And every time I've had a problem in my life, like I stubbed my toe, or I broke up with my girlfriend, whatever it was, I always leaned on music. So I just feel that right now it's time for that. And so the pandemic for me was first 5 months staying out of everything. And then after a little while, I went back to the studio and cracked out 2 albums. So one dropped March the 12th. It's called Live and Living. It's more hardcore dancehall music. And then features a bag of dancehall great artists, amazing artists to me. And then the next thing is dropping in the summer. It's called Scorcher. And that features more, I would say, an international perspective of how dancehall would sound. So the first album got Buju Banton, Busy Signal, Junior Gang, Serrani, Movado, Sasko, everybody who's you've probably heard of. If you like dancehall music, you've probably heard of these names before. Suko from Ward 21, Left Side. All of these are more established names that I worked with. And the second, the new sound, is people like Intense, Massacre, Skillet Bang, Squash, Governor. And so I'm kind of bridging the gap with that album. It's called Live and Living, and I'm bringing, the more established sound with the new sound of what dancehall is right now together. I'm showing unity in the dancehall community. I'm showing collaboration over clash, and it just made me proud to do this. Some production by myself, but also just production from great producers in Jamaica. The next album is, as I said, more foreign kind of based. So that one is going to drop, as I said, in the summer. And we have people like Ty Dolla $ign on that album. We got people like Sia on the album. Gwen Stefani and Shensia in one Lovers Rock reggae song. Tovlo's on the album, Junior Gang and Nicky Jam's on the album, and Stylo G. So both albums have been something that I took my time up and took my fear away. So again, I leaned up on music and it helped me out. And I just hope that this music that I'm bringing right now in this year helps people out to feel how they're supposed to feel. I can't stand using that word more normal or back to normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just want people to feel how they're supposed to feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's feel good music and there's also very thoughtful music on both albums. And I'm just proud to bring it to people right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm curious to know how you came up with the name Live and Living and Scorcher.
Live and Living. Well, Live and Living was, for me, again, me kind of coming out of my shell and saying, yo, I'm live and I'm living. And also dancehall music is live and living. There's a lot of people that say, the genre don't exist no more. I don't see the numbers. But for us, it existed from before. A lot of those people who are saying that new dancehall, it was living before that. We've influenced so much genres. So like, reggaeton, Afrobeat, Trinidad music or Zessin music, the pop icons who kind of dabble in it, from Drake to Bieber to people like Ed Sheeran. For me, it just shows how powerful the music is, and that's why I call it live and living. Check the pulse. I'm trying to tell people, like, look what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How is we watched hip hop evolve throughout the years, obviously from its conception to where it is now. How has dancehall and reggae evolved, in your opinion, throughout time?
Oh yeah, it's evolved in different ways. Like for me, all music evolves. Chuck Berry's rock music don't sound like Nirvana rock music.
Right.
Miles Davis jazz don't sound like Kenny G jazz, but it's jazz. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, our music has evolved and it's become more trappy oriented in terms of the drums that we use and the bass lines and stuff like that. But it's still the root, especially of what we've done before. It's still there, So big up to the major players in the game: Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff, Shabba Ranks, Super Cat, Shaggy. A lot of people who paved the way before me. And I just got to give thanks for their steps, because what they all did was to kind of break open the door for the North American palate or even European palate to be like, I want more of that. And here we were as young artists in Jamaica just doing dancehall music, you know what I mean? It's the voice of our people. It's how we communicate as youngsters. It's a street newspaper. So, that what they did broke open the door for me, and for ever since 2001, just about then, it was big times for me. I've been recording music since 1996. Demos before that from 94, but I got my first single out in 96. So I've seen it evolve, and I've seen the changes, with the advent of more and more computer type equipment to kind of just bring different sounds involved into the way we play our music. And now there's a lot more players in the game in terms of musicians, producers, and also artists who are all inspiring me right now. And that's why I came up with this album. I want to shine a light on, I'm one of the most visible members of the genre. I also stream a lot, you know what I mean? So I just kind of wanted to do what I was talking about with Junior Gang or with Shaggy for a long time. We or even Buju. We talk about these things over the years, and I decided it was time for the action instead of just talking. Big up to them too, because like Junior Gang is somebody who developed from us talking.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that he went straight into what he was saying he was going to do, bring more touring together in the genre. He developed something called the Jamrock Cruise, which happened every year. And before this, this pandemic has happened, where it's a cruise where many dancehall artists take. It's like a big concert over the sea. So when I saw him do that, I was very inspired, man, and I decided to come together and do work with all of these people in my own genre who may not be being paid attention to by my base fans. Then I got a lot of people all over the earth that they say to me, "Oh, you made us know what's up with dancehall." So I'm trying to do that again, take part in the history, and just do my thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. If you may, man, could you take us back, to your childhood a little bit? You told some pretty incredible stories about your mother and your father, but in particular, your father being a gangster, but your mother really being like the crown jewel in your life. Can you take us back to, your childhood and the making of Sean Paul?
Yeah, my father and my mother both swam as Jamaican swimmers for the country in the 60s. And so, my mom was backstroke champion. Her sister was breaststroke champion for the Caribbean. My father was long distance champion. He won across the harbor like 5 times, and was a great butterfly champion. Now, swimming is not a big sport in Jamaica, but not even in the world, I don't think it's that huge. So my family kind of was unique in that respect. My grandfather came back from the war. Jamaican soldiers went to fight for Britain. So my grandfather came back from the war and was on the first water polo team in what they call the Commonwealth Games back then. And so basically swimming was in my family. And so every year my father and mother would teach swimming, and I would be every summer, and I would be the kid. They would be like 4 or 5 years old. They're like, "Oh, you don't like to swim? Look at this." And they throw me in the water. I'd swim around. And so I started to represent Jamaica at about age 13 years old for swimming and for water polo. About that time, my father got into major trouble. He was always a hustler, doing his thing from the beginning, before I was born. And, he's someone who believed in herb, he believed in marijuana to a great deal. But he also got caught up in the coke life. He got hooked up. And so that was a back and forth type of tumultuous life in terms of, I'm from uptown, which is supposed to be, to people, it signifies wealth, but not really. I know many kids uptown who are just simple living as a middle class life. And, when that happens, I'm not accepted in the inner city areas because they just think, this kid got a golden spoon in his mouth. And then I wasn't really feeling accepted in the uptown region because it was like, I can't go to Miami every weekend on trips like these rich kids was doing. So my father was a hustler, and he crashed a ganja plane in the Everglades, 2 o'clock in the morning one time when I was about 10 years old, and he got deported, basically left the States on someone's yacht, came back to Jamaica. He got in trouble again. This time he was given manslaughter for 15 years. So that was when I was 13 years old and just started to swim and just started looking for, male influence as a man. My mom had to deal with 2 companies now because they both had companies and whatnot. So she dealt with it for quite a few years until I was about 17, and she started to have like just a nervous kind of effect, you know what I mean? So at that time, she had the breakdown. It was for a few months, but it kind of affected her for a while. And as I said, she's the hero in my life in terms of kept me kind of straight, you know what I mean? Knowing what kind of stuff happened to my father when he tried what he tried, as to be the hustler. I didn't want to ever see a prison. I didn't ever want to see a jail cell. And so, that kind of shaped me as a kid. He came out when I was 19 years old. He heard my demo tapes. He was like, "Yo, I'm friends with Third World." They grew up together. Third World is an iconic Jamaican band, and they took my demo tape and brought it to Shaggy's first manager. And Shaggy's manager used to manage also Super Cat, and I sound like Super Cat. In my demos, everybody, even at school, people would be like, yo, you sound like Cat. Even when I'm trying to DJ like Shabba Ranks or do someone else's song, you know. So for me, it was like Cat was just a perfect example of who I thought I was, you know what I mean? A rude boy, the girl and man, you know what I mean? Very suave for the ladies as well. So that was something I looked up to in him and in people like Bob Marley. He was a revolutionary and also was a ladies' man. And so those are the type of artists that kind of influenced me and I looked up to, because my father was, not only because my father was in prison, but a great deal of my mentors was music and sports. I looked up to like people like Michael Jordan, who just never lost, it seemed to me. And I looked up to people like Super Cat, you know what I mean? Yeah, so in a nutshell, that was kind of my childhood with my father and my mom. You know, there was always, in terms of, you know, you don't fit in. So I felt like I was sitting on a fence, and then music enabled me to get off the fence and speak on both sides and speak about many different things. And that's the reason why I kind of got more and more into music, because at first I thought I'd be a producer. But yeah, it's kind of like it in a nutshell.
How was your buzz in Jamaica starting off once you got into music? And then when did that start crossing over into the States and globally?
I did demos from 94 to about 96, and then I got my first. We started doing dub plates about 95, which is, you know, dub plates are special songs for sound systems. And my name started to get out there. And people say, yo, this kid sound like Cat. And, you know, I started getting more and more dub plates and barbecues and little small events like that. And then my first single came out in 1996 in about November. And it blew up, man. The first single was called Baby Girl. It's not on any album. It's just a single that I put out. It was my first real single that came out. And, you know, no one knew who it was. I would go to the dances and stand up in the dance. And when the song played, Baby Girl, don't cry no more. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo. So it was pretty cool. And I loved the energy. And I decided that, yo, I was going to go full on into it. I was at the time in college trying to study hotel management. I paid for the first year myself because I went to work for a bank for the year before that. And the second 2 years was paid by my mom. And the last year, I'm like, Mom, you gotta look at this. Look by my career. Like, look, it's taking off. The song's bouncing. So give me a year. I'm gonna come out of the school and give me a year to prove myself to my own self. She's an artist, so she paints and she does artwork. The companies that she ran was, she would do the artwork for the screen printing. They would print shirts, my mom and my pop, and they employed like 14 people. So the other one was a ceramics business where she would make pots and make like light fixtures and stuff out of clay. And so she knew what it was to be an artist, to be someone that puts your whole life in the music or in the artwork, and then people kind of come and critique it and cut it down. So she didn't want that for me. She wanted me to be a professional, you know what I mean, as most parents do. It's more stable. But it was calling me, and I was like, yo, I really would like the chance to just do this for a year. So she gave me the time, you know what I mean? And within that year, it blew up so much that there was no looking back. Right. Everything was just kind of cemented right now, steel and block, you know what I mean? So I've been walking forward ever since and carrying as much people as I could with me. That first song became a hit, and then for a few years I put out a couple singles, and then about 1999, VP Records had me at an album signing in Tower Records in Manhattan. And I was on one of their compilation albums where they put together the hottest dancehall tracks per year. And they saw so much people coming to me for autographs. A lot of the young ladies was like, yo, that's my bro, that's my dude. So, you know, I remember Christine, who owned the record label, kind of looking at me and saying, yo, think about doing an album. And that was my first album I did with them, Stage One. It blew up. in terms of selling good for them, their highest selling records were doing like 30,000 copies, and this one went 75,000. So it was like quickly, immediately put together a second album, which was Dirty Rock, and then that went bam and sold like 6 mil. So it was gradual. It was never just like boom, I'm the Dirty Rock man. But for a lot of people, it seemed that way because I was more of the underground music, in the underground music scene of dancehall, the genre. And when I started to break out above that was 2001. You know, Beyonce came through. We did Baby Boy. Busta Rhymes did the remix for me with Give Me the Light. And then it was kind of like no looking back. You know what I mean? Just great. I've ridden the wave ever since. And as I said, I helped a lot of people out. You know, I employ like over 20 people who work for me as publicists, work for me as, you know, my band, the stage techs, the dancers. Like the whole thing feels very dope to be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just about me and moving away. A lot of people ask me why I don't move away. I'm like, you know, these are the people who made me. This is the music that made me. This is the music that I enjoyed so much as a kid that made me do music. I wanted to express myself that way. And so for me to move away and not have, you know, real Jamaican management or links in music here would be a no-no for me, man. I don't even think about that. You know, I do enjoy touring. I do enjoy traveling the world, spinning my rhymes and saying this, you know, waving my flag for this genre. But I don't think I would ever move from here. That's just how it is for me. No.
Can you take us back? You mentioned the Beyonce. Can you take our you know, our listeners back to the whole process? Who contacted who? You know, did you guys record in the studio? Can you take us back to that process, if you may, please?
Yeah, for sure. The first person that came to me to do a step out was a dude called Cardinal Official. Big up to Cardinal. He's the first one that came to Jamaica and said, I want this dude to spit on the track for me. And then after he did that, Toronto kind of heated up. And I also got a lot of traction in New York with my first album, Deport Them, and also Hot Gal Today, which featured Mr. Vegas. And from those things, that album, the first album, and the work I did with Cardi in Canada, I just started to blow up. So Blue Can Trail came next. And then the next one was Beyonce. And all of those people contacted me in terms of the genre was real hot. I was kind of the leader in that space. And people just kept coming to me. So, you know, I'd met Beyonce about 1998 or 99 in Jamaica when the group first started, Destiny's Child. And I think I opened for them, or they might have opened for me, to tell the truth. I can't remember the sequence, because dancehall music in Jamaica, like, you know what I mean, the hottest artist here is there's no difference or equivalent to the hottest artist in the States. You know, back in '98, if you said Lil Wayne was the king of rap or the king of hip hop at the time, you could say that you know, Vybz Kartel was as equally as huge to us. You know what I mean? So when people started to come through, it was just a dope thing. So she called me. She was like, "Yo, I want you to be on my album." I heard she was doing a solo project, so I was like, wicked. But it was the first one that actually did over dancehall. If you remember, Blue Can Trail's song was more hip hop oriented. It was, you know, a track from Dr. Dre, and also Cardi's own Cardinal Official was more hip hop oriented too. It's a song called Money Jane, and so yeah, this was the first one that just sounded authentic to me. I was like, this is dope, man. I was under my mango tree, writing the tune, and a mango fell straight in my lap. I was like, yeah, this is a sweet tune. It's going, it's a sign. It's going to be a big tune. And it actually is the first #1 I had, I think. Or actually, sorry, the second #1 I had. The first one was Get Busy. And from all the steam of that, you know, we did it over via the internet. I did the first verse here. And then she requested me to come to Miami to just meet and possibly do a second, you know, verse. And we did. And yeah, we made a big sexy song, and from there it was history, you know. A lot of rumors came from it. Big up to everybody who thought what they thought and think what they think. She's a very beautiful and talented artist, and you know, I got a lot of respect for her husband as well, man. Jay-Z is an icon. And so it did cause some contention, but honestly, I look at the music differently. And I mean, it takes on a life by itself, but I remember who I am and I know who I am. So I'm not really affected by it. And as you see, I've never really been much in the beef, or never really been much in the clashing, or the pasa, the cas, the little sus, and the you know, all of that stuff. I'm kind of like, I step around all of that all the time. So even when it was going on with me and Beyonce, like people were saying what they're saying, you know, it was for me just part and parcel of the type of music we make. It's very sexy, and people kind of even wanted to see that, but you know, it is what it is.
Now, you guys did perform the song 3 times, right? I think I heard you say that. How was it when you guys performed the song, and why'd you let the rumors sit for so long?
No, for me to come out and be like, it's not true, this is not happening. Mm-hmm. For me, it was like, I just let it live where it is, you know. For me, only unless I was asked in an interview, which I always said, no, nothing's not going on. And the person always said, nah, man, that's a lie, man, you did it, and all that crap. So I just found out that every time I tried to really deny it or something, even in a party in Kingston, like people like, yo, I know Jay-Z, he jealous. And I'm like, nah, it ain't nothing like that. They're, oh, no, I know you just trying. So it took on a life by itself. And to fight that for so many years, it's just, it's tiring. I have less energy for that and more energy for new music, you know what I mean? And I remember, you know, also the song, which a lot of people don't know, it was, we were in a court case for 4 years with that song, man.
Okay.
Not me and her.
Right.
It was someone, a girl who had given a demo tape or gotten a demo tape to Beyonce. And she said the song that she got the demo for was named Baby Boy. It didn't sound like this one. It didn't have any of the same lyrics or chord, only that the song was named Baby Boy. But there was a movie called Baby Boy, right? And it's a whole saying. So for me, I was just like, this don't make no sense. But I had to pay my lawyer for 4 years to deal with this lady who claimed she needed some of this piece of this song. But after the 4 years, they ruled in our favor. They were like, it has nothing to do with them. How we won was we showed them, the court, the time and dates that you know, Beyonce had given me the record and what it sounded like, and they ruled that this girl really had no premise with that. Also, Ani Kamosi, the song in the end says, "I'm stepping it hotter this year," which is he's a big reggae artist, and he did a huge song back in '92 called Hot Stepper, and Hot Stepper kind of Beyonce used it in the back of the song, and they thought that I told her to put it in, so they came after me at first. And so the song just had a lot of drama on it, but as I said again, I don't pay attention to the negative. I see the positive in it. I was like, as long as people calling my name, I'm gonna give them more stuff while they're calling my name.
There you go.
So I went ahead and did like Glue. I went ahead and did you know, I'm Still in Love. I went ahead and did other albums, and you know, Up to Temperature, which was 2006. Sorry. Up to then, I was, you know, a huge artist on massive playlists, and I still am. But that time was really the hot time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna say during that time it was the hot time. Like you couldn't listen to music. You couldn't go to a club without hearing the Sean Paul record. You couldn't put on MTV or BET without listening to a Sean Paul record. It was crazy because Give Me the Light, for example, probably one of my favorite tracks you ever did in the video.
Appreciate it, bro.
As a brother from New Jersey, honestly, listening to it, can't understand what the fuck you're saying, but it's a vibe. Yeah. Like the vibe is crazy. Yeah. We don't even necessarily need to know the bars, but the vibe itself, the music, the way you killing it, it's just it was all the way there. I want to talk about Give Me the Light for a minute, because I saw an interview years ago with DMX. Salute to DMX, rest in peace to DMX.
Yeah, all right.
And he was talking about Give Me the Light, and then you guys did Here Comes the Boom together on the Belly soundtrack. That was another banger. And he had some things to say about Give Me the Light, how you guys maybe had some conversation. Take us back to that moment. Talk about your relationship with DMX as it was prior to his death, and what do you think about him passing away?
You know, RIP to an icon right now. I feel it for his fans and his family. It stopped me for the whole weekend, and then for the funeral just the other day again for the service. Yesterday I was in tears again, man. This dude is such a charismatic figure, and he will be missed. His voice, the way he put these rhymes together, and what he was saying was so potent. Rhythms he chose, you know, to be on. So yeah, when he came to Jamaica to do the movie Belly, Tony Kelly was a producer that Hype Williams went to. They knew each other before. Hype Williams is the director of the movie, and he's like, I need the 2 hottest artists in Jamaica, and he said, well, you should go for the 2 youngest artists, and the 2 hottest youngest artists. That's Sean Paul and Mr. Vegas. We had the song called Chilalala, and the success of my first album. I had toured the States with Mr. Vegas. We'd done that song in major, a major tour in smaller clubs, but a major tour throughout the States. And we just had a buzz at the time, you know. So he expressed that to Hype Williams, and Hype was like, all right, let's hear these dudes. So I'm sitting in the studio one night, and my brother, he plays with a sound system called Copper Shot, and they came up to the studio and they were like, yo, you missed it, bro. I was like, what? They're like, there's a big dance called Fully Loaded that happened every summer, and it's on the beach, and it starts from like in the evening, and it goes through to like 1 in the morning or 12. And they came to the studio after that. You know, I do night hours at the studio mainly, so they was like, yo, you should have seen it. The dog was there. I was like, what are you talking about? They was like, DMX. I was like, damn. And at this time, DMX had 3 albums out that year, and he was, you know, doing movies, and he was arguably the biggest artist on the planet. Just to kind of put it in reference for these younger people who don't know exactly his power. You know what I mean?
Right.
3 albums that sold over 1 million in the first week. All 3 in that 1 year. Amazing. So for a big artist like that to come down and do work with us in a genre that was very dope and very much underground, and to work with 2 new artists, I was very honored to work with this dude, man. I was scared because I didn't know what they expected. So me and Vegas, now the next morning, Tony Kelly called me and said, yo, you gonna do a song with Mr. Vegas and DMX, come to my studio now. I was like, fuck, I think I hung up before he said anything else. And I reached the studio like 9, 10 o'clock. And me and Mr. Vegas sat there. We was building a girl song. It was all of the girls, them hold your hands high. It was about ladies, you know. And DMX came through about 4:30. You know, he walked through and he was like, yo. He heard the track and he heard what we were doing, and he was like, oh, okay, I got this. And he's like, here comes the boom. And we were like, oh, damn, yo. So immediately we started changing the lyrics out to gun lyrics. And then the movie came out. We was actually shooting a video for it. Hype Williams had me in the countryside with DMX shooting a video. He just never finished it. Some stuff happened where he was like, I can't complete this video, so I'm gonna leave this off the project. But he put us in the movie for like 10 seconds. So from that 10 seconds, bro, I'm eternally grateful for this dude. First of all, Hype Williams, and also Tony Kelly, the producer, but also DMX, man. He didn't have to do it, and he was one of the reasons I got noticed in the hip hop community, and within hip hop fan base. For the most part, he was one of the big reasons. You know, I blew up after that. not just because of that, but that gave me a big stepping stone, and I'm always thankful for it. And when I did Give Me the Light, bro, he had been back to Jamaica one time since, and the only thing I could think of is that he was talking to a booking agent that used to book for me. Now she brought him down for a show that didn't do well at all. She didn't promote it properly. So I went to the show. Me and my brother, he used to call my brother Farm, because every time he saw my brother, he was with a pound of weed. So we was giving him, because we was, I was the type of kid in Jamaica at the time who I was really, I wanted to bridge the gap between hip hop and dancehall. I knew the beginnings of hip hop from Cool Herc was also oriented from what we had done in reggae and dancehall music, and the whole toasting and all of that. So I'd always wanted to be, I was a fan of the music. I love Wu-Tang, I love Biggie, people like Slick Rick, people like, KRS-One, more old school stuff for me. And so I could tell you a story. When Biggie came here to perform at a show in December 1996, or it might have been 95, they stoned him, they booed him. He was in a wheelchair. Now Jamaicans, they love the energy, and they didn't understand the music, and he coming out talking all kind of stuff, using the N-word, and
oh, man.
Jamaica would be like, yo, and they threw bottles at this dude, and I was upset. So when DMX did the song with me, it was a major step in my career. After that, as I said, I blew up, and I was looking forward to doing collabs. I went to Virginia, or was it Carolina, wherever, what's his name, Pharrell was working out of with Chad, the Neptunes. I went to work with them. They had been working with Beanie Man. I did a song with Beanie Man and Lady Saw with their production, and I wanted them on my album. And during that whole time, I was trying to get hip-hop artists to mess with me. On that album, I have Tony Touch, who's a dope producer and a DJ. I have him on the album. I also have people like a young artist from Jersey named R.O.B.B. on the album. And then I got through the Busta Rhymes, and we did that. So I do not know any point in time. I did not have X's number, and he didn't have my one. We never spoke like that. We seen each other at shows, at video shoots, and he was always accommodating, always handing me a Heineken, saying, yo, come mess with me, man. And we smoked, and so when I saw the video, I actually saw the video way late. He apparently did that interview in 2005, and Give Me the Light was from 2003 or 4
right.
or 2001 even. So when that video, he recorded in that thing in 2005, but I didn't see it till 2009. So when I saw it on YouTube, I was like, what the hell is this? What's he talking about? Like, I didn't remember. And again, I'm not the type of person to be all out in the public like, yo, it didn't go that way and blah, blah, blah. So now people is asking me about it. Like, you came here and you asked me this, and it's hard for me, you know what I mean? Because I really respect the dude. I don't know what he was going through at the time or who he actually spoke to. He says he spoke to me on the phone. I do not have that in my memory bank at all. So there's a lot of people cussing me out too. Like I post about his passing and, bigging him up, and people in the comments be like, nah, bro, you should have let him on the song, and F you. And I'm like, damn, so I take this opportunity to express myself, but also to say how much I revered the dude, man. And it hurt me so much that this happened to him. And it is what it is. Sometimes in life, things happen, and, like it wasn't really Alexander Graham Bell that developed the light bulb, was it? He was a black man. So I look at that and I'm like, that's way of a bigger misunderstanding or someone's work that was put into obscurity than this was happened between me and X. It's a misunderstanding. I had nothing to do with it, and it is hard because people be cussing me out, but it is what it is, man.
Did you
R.I.P., bro? One of the greatest to ever do it, man.
Yes, sir. Did you ever have a conversation with X after that to kind of clear the air? I seen him maybe a couple months ago prior to his passing. He was jamming and Here Comes the Boom. So it seemed like all giving everything, all love was there. Did you ever talk to him?
No, I didn't speak back to him. We didn't see each other. I haven't seen him personally since about 2004.
Wow.
To tell the truth.
Okay.
You know, but those early years, I did see him at a couple of places, as I said. But no, I haven't. And it's not. It wasn't me just being I don't want to talk to dude. Like as I said, I'm the person who tried to bridge the gap with hip hop. I also had Razel on that album. From Razel is like a rapper and a beatbox artist from the roots. And so with all that influence, trying to get on the album, and then I got on Clip's album. I did the remix with them. So you know, I'm a big fan of hip hop. And always look to bridge the gap between our genres. So, man, when that happened, it really hurt me. But you know, I just left it as it is. And really, I feel like now, I wish that I did reach out. It just shows you in life, man. There's sometimes you feel like, you know, it ain't worth. You probably catch up with that person, and you could all hack it out then. But then, you know, look at what happened. I'm not able to speak to this dude. I'm not able to tell him, yo, that had nothing to do with me, bro.
Yeah.
I can only try and tell people who's cussing me out, which seems ridiculous too. So it is.
Right.
It is what it is, bro.
Appreciate you sharing that.
Dancehall music, you know, a few years back, you came out and criticized a few artists for using dancehall music and not giving the proper credit.
Yeah.
Can you kind of speak about that? I know it was like Drake, Justin Bieber, and somebody else.
There's a lot of people, and I'm not. Yeah, I am a fan of Justin Bieber. I like some of Drake's music. You know, I'm a fan of Ed Sheeran. So is my mom. But all these people, they come use the genre, or they use the rhythm that's like, you know, very similar to what we do, and it's still called hip hop, or it's still called their R&B music. And fans who were 5 years old back in the day, they're now 15. They're like, oh, this is innovative. This is the new hip hop. This is the new, you know, whatever it is. And it's weird because the adverse. If I did that with Willie Nelson's music, and I came out and said, this is my new single, and I said, you know, it's all country and Western oriented in the music. And I'm like, mama, don't let your son grow up to wear panties. You know, people would be like, what you doing, bro? Like, you can't just do that music and say that it's your new music. That's country Western you're doing now. So at least say you're doing a country and Western album. So how come when they're doing our music, you know, Sway Lee and French Montana, you know, you know, as I said, Rihanna, Rihanna is actually the one that I rate the most out of any pop artist who is dabbling in the music and doing it. You know, R. Kelly did it. Move your body like a snake, ma. Snake, ma. That's dancehall right there, man. Yeah. Missy be putting it down. That's dancehall, bro. Paul Wall, that was dancehall too. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I see and I know it, and I understand the confusion of maybe you know, people in the States, because I was caught up in that confusion as well. I have a sister who is a teacher in Miami, and she called me when Give Me the Light broke, and she's like, yo, there's kids fighting about you in my class. And I'm like, what you mean? She said, well, a couple of kids were playing the song, and some other kids was like, yeah, this new hip hop is dope. And the Caribbean kids in the class were like, no, that's dancehall. And they were like, and they started to argue, no, that's new hip hop, that's not dancehall. So for me, it's always been like, I've had to keep telling people it's dancehall music that I do. And then all of a sudden came reggaeton, which we influenced too. And you know, I've been sitting on a plane beside an elder Latina lady, and she's like, well, what do? You have on chains. You look like an artist. I was like, yeah, my name is Sean Paul. I do dancehall. And she's like, what dancehall? I was like, Yeah, it's like the son of reggae, it's like a brother to hip hop. She go, oh, reggaeton. I'm like, no, not reggaeton. It's different. So I've been fighting all this time, you know what I mean, waving the flag, gaining so much fans, and then there is still some confusion or so much, so that people just can use the genre and not say, oh, big up to these people, Sean Paul, Shaggy, Shabba Ranks, Super Cat, these people who led the way for me to be able to just go on this track and heat the place up. You know what I mean? All those names I mentioned, the only one out of all of those pop stars is Rihanna, because she says, I'm doing a dancehall album, which I cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's to me giving accolades to the genre, not just coming down to kind of like, you know, liaison or mess with one person or a next person or do a collab here or there. If you're going to do the whole thing by yourself, you know, in your album and have other step outs and whatnot, and not say that that's dancehall music, I kind of feel slighted by that. I feel like I'm lost again, you know what I mean? This same lady on the plane, oh, reggaeton, or these kids in the school, that's new hip hop, you know, it annoys me because the genre, I appreciated it so much as a kid, and as I explained to you, you know, there was no difference when I was growing up between LL Cool J and Bunty Killer. There was no difference for me. Those two artists, even though the pay grade was different, was to me just like, you know, two very top artists in those genres. And when people don't get it, it annoys us. So we've started, you know, we've helped to spawn music like reggaeton. We've helped to influence what Afrobeat sounds like now. I mean, Fela Kuti's music 20 years ago didn't sound like this Afrobeat that we're hearing now from Davido and from Wizkid. It's heavily dancehall oriented. You know, also Trinidad music or Trinidadian music. Now, Trinidad is known for calypso and for soca music, but lately, in the past 5-6 years, they've been producing something that they call Trinidad music, and they spit like us, and the rhythms are sounding like us, and they got jugglings, which is a couple artists on one rhythm. So, you know, for such a powerful genre that we've you know, all these pop acts and the reggaeton, the Afrobeat, the people in Trinidad, and even you know, artists that are Middle Eastern oriented. Like I'm talking to this girl right now named Encina, I think her name is. She's based in Brooklyn or in Queens, and she's Arabic, and her music, she's singing in English, but you can hear in her voice the type of flow she's doing. But the whole music track behind it is dancehall oriented. So for such a hardcore music to come out and be, you know, known all over the world and done by everybody in the world and not get the accolades, it's kind of upsetting to me. You know what I mean? Reggae has its place. Dancehall don't really have no place. When we win a reggae Grammy, we're winning a reggae Grammy. We're kind of taking it away from the icons who are doing reggae. It's crazy. So I get that every genre that comes up, you can't just, you know, just name it and get, or you can't just give it a category in a big thing like the Grammys or whatever. But, you know, this little platform or this little dancehall music took me around the world, helped me to gain a Grammy and also an American Music Award over Justin Timberlake and Kanye West in 2006.
Yep.
And I feel so proud of it. I waved the flag for it. So when people don't get it and they do it without giving the proper accolades, I'm a bit ticked off.
You talking got me curious because in America, obviously, we hear reggae and dancehall and kind of put them together ignorantly enough. But you're saying that there's a big difference between reggae and dancehall. So my question would be, who was like the innovator or the creator or like the founding father of dancehall?
Well, man, unfortunately, he passed this year. His name is U-Roy.
Okay.
Big up to U-Roy, R.I.P. to him. He was the first cat who used to go on the records and toast. It was something that MCs were doing in Jamaica on live, like same like maybe I guess before Sugar Hill Gang, like people just in the hip hop they used to just go toast on the mic and freestyle, you know what I mean, and do that thing. And And then it started to be recording, and the first person to do recordings like that was Roy, and he passed away this year. So R.I.P. to him. You know, our genre is also, the lines are also blurred too, because then in the middle of dancehall took over in the I would say very early 80s.
Okay.
Took over from reggae as what we loved, how we loved to express ourselves. We still made reggae music. We still had a lot of key players that were international reggae bands and also local reggae bands. But what the kids were listening to was dancehall music. And out of that, you know, came a whole rhythm pattern that was very danceable, very infectious, almost military with the drums and the bass. Mm-hmm. And that's what we love to spit on. And, you know, there was fusions with the music, with the hip hop in the earlier years, like KRS-One and Shabba. People like Special Ed had Jamaican roots and put certain things into the songs. Busta Rhymes, eating I thoughts do like the 1P to toss. Yep. All over the track, like all of that stuff was from, you know, Heavy D, Shinehead. All these people were people who were in the hip hop industry that was giving a salute and a nod towards what we did. They weren't going on actual dancehall tracks, so to speak.
Right.
They were doing hip hop stuff, but you know, even Queen Latifah, UNITY, UNITY, that's a unity. That whole melody comes from our genre. That melody, I don't know if y'all know, but it's something that comes from what we've done before. So when we saw that as kids growing up, I loved it. But now, when they're using our own tracks and our producers, you know, legendary producers like Sly and Robbie, Steely and Clevie, Bobby Digital, rest his soul, people like, you know, Dave and Tony Kelly, all of these people gave us something that's ours, that was uniquely my generation's music. It was how we spoke to each other, and it's how we told the story of what's happening in our community. And you know, it's just for me still a shame that people don't know where it comes from, but it's also blended with the hip hop, and then also Caperton and Sizzla and artists like that came around, which now they were spitting, but they were spitting on reggae tracks, so it further confuses people. Mm-hmm. But for me, the genre to me is reggae dancehall at this point. It's blended. There's no, I mean, Chronix is a big artist. He claims to be a
Can you still hear us? Still with us?
In a building with Sean Paul right now, the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, having a little technical difficulty, but we'll be right back. Hit that 5-star rating, that like button, wherever you're listening or watching. We definitely appreciate your time.
Definitely. Cool. Yeah, man. Definitely. Great interview, man.
Yeah, I'm loving it so far.
I'm loving how he's candid, answering all the questions. I'm loving it, man.
Exactly, man. This is one of my funnest ones in a while.
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
I'm definitely enjoying our time.
Yes, sir. So make sure you guys, if you're listening on, or you dropped off, be back in a second. We ain't got much more questions, but yeah, man. Go ahead, hit that 5-star rate and leave a comment. I haven't checked in a while if you've been leaving the comments, but you know, hopefully you guys are leaving them, letting us know what you like. But we're going to continue to keep on, you know, giving you these type of interviews, your favorite celebrities, or sports stars, whatever over here, man.
What a fucking Monday. What a way to start the week, man.
Yes,
At the
sir.
end of the last week of April, going into May, man. Couldn't have asked for a better interview than with Sean Paul right now. Like you said, just being very transparent with all the questions, having for damn near an hour, man. This has been a treat so far.
But you see, we got tomorrow. Yeah. That's going to shake things up tomorrow. But that's just totally different what we do. But it's going to be a great person. We got somebody coming to the studio real soon. We moving, man. We doing our thing, man. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, I love opening up this fucking this resume, man, and expanding it. It's a beautiful thing, man. On the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, got Sean Paul back in the building.
Yes.
Podcast, got Sean Paul back in the building. Podcast, got Sean Paul back in the building. Podcast, got Sean Paul back in the building. Podcast, got Sean Paul back in the building.
Ooh, Bad connection back.
Yeah.
That wasn't none of ours. It should be back in now in a second, hopefully. He might have lost power over there, but it is what it is.
Definitely, I think he was on. I'm actually surprised it was as good as it is. I think he was on his cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
And that joint's going great.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know, usually with these video chats on the cell phone, sometimes shit get kind of dicey.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been blessed to have some real good time on this joint so far.
Yes. Without a doubt. Definitely, man. Okay, there we go. All right, can you hear us now?
Yeah, bro. I'm sorry about that. I think it was my side.
That's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. All right,
cool. Appreciate you, brother. We don't got many more questions.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the versus battles. If I'm not mistaken, you said you wouldn't want to do a versus battle, and were you contacted to do one as well?
No, not by Swiss or by Timberland at all. I have very big ratings for both of them. As I said, I'm wearing Swiss clothes right now. But you know, I came up with a concept of doing this album about. It's called Live and Living, and it's about unity in the dancehall community. Because speaking with Shaggy and speaking with Junior Gang and also Butcher Banton over the years, we always, in the conversation, it always came up how our genre doesn't do enough. Our genre doesn't do enough, collaboration. We clash too much. We don't tour enough together. And so I decided to put my mouth. I decided to put action to the talk. And then all of a sudden this pandemic hits and I'm in the middle of making this album. And then Shaggy calls me and he's like, yo, would you do a versus like against me or with me? I'm like, I don't really want to do that, bro. And he was like, yeah, neither me, but people have been asking me and people have been saying. So I was like, I don't want to do it. So somebody had an interview with me and they asked me on a live on Instagram, and they was like, yo, would you do a versus? I said, nah, it reminds me of clashing too much. And they were like, what's wrong with clashing? It's part of your culture. It's part of dancehall especially. And I said, yeah, and I said something crazy, but I said it so that it would sink into people. I said, to me, clashing reminds me of slavery. It reminds me of us going against each other for other people's pleasure. And although you got to be a dope MC to do this, you have to have a lot of skill. At the same point in time, I'm in the middle of this album to show the unity in the community. I just don't want to do that. It puts a block in my own plans. So he was like, okay, fair enough. And then one of the Jamaican newspapers carried it, and everybody out here came at me. It was like, yo, how could you say that? Clashing is a big part of our culture. And I said, yeah, it is, but it's a negative part. In my estimation, more of us have gotten international renowned respect, not from clashing. There's me, there's Shaggy, there's Coffee, there's Shensia, there's people like Charlie Blacks, Conscience, Serrani. None of those people I mentioned have made their name off of clashing. Now there's other big players who do clash, yeah, but do they sell or stream as much as myself or someone else like me? I don't think so. And so for me, it's a negative part of the culture that I just want to move away from. So I don't want to take part in it. And I don't want to do a versus battle because the name is versus battle. I want to see Ashanti and Keisha Cole, the two sexy goddesses that they are. And I don't want to be on my phone the next day on WhatsApp or texting my friends who did better than who. Because for me, music is supposed to bring people together. It's supposed to be a joyful noise unto the Lord. So for me, I'm done with that part of these types of genres. Hip hop does it a lot, and also dancehall does it a lot. I don't see it in many more genres. Like so, for me, it's like I understand the skill it takes, but I'm just not down with it. And from that, people wrote in the paper, and they were all cussing me. So I wrote a song called Lionheart, and Lionheart was the first single that I put out for this album. And basically, I'm clashing the whole culture in that song. I'm like, who's going to hate me now for saying the truth? I'm saying something that needs to be said. I'm saying something that has been ignored for a long time. Yeah, we find it fun to clash. But do we look at the negative aspects of what it's doing to the kids' brains and to the people who are listening? We become more complacent with violence. We've glorified violence. And we've embellished these stories of being a Don and being a violent person unrightfully. You know what I mean? We ain't what this music, hip hop and dancehall and reggaeton is supposed to do. It's supposed to be the street newspaper. It's supposed to be telling you about what is happening to us right now. But it comes to a point in time where if you're going to embellish these stories and over glorify certain things that are negative, it serves the other purpose. It actually serves the purpose of people becoming more complacent with violence and kids thinking it ain't such a big thing. And for me, that's just me wanting to be the change I wanted to see in the universe. It's me wanting to deal with collaboration over clash and go get the cash. You know what I mean? It's me wanting to show the unity in the dancehall community. So, I'm not down with it for those reasons, man. And it's my own prerogative. I'm one of the bigger sellers or streamers in this genre. I'm one of the biggest international looks that we have. So I gotta say, and my say is, I don't like it. That's it.
When you say clashing, what you mean, like beefing and battling, that kind of thing?
Yeah, beefing and battling. I mean, when we do it in Jamaica nowadays, it's not just lyrical. It gets crazy. We're talking about each other's mother in the songs. We're calling the mom's name. We're calling kids' names. That ain't right, man. And so for me, it's gone too far now. And we've embellished. We ain't telling the real stories of the real gunmen who have to go and hide in the bush because police is looking for them and they can't live with their baby mom or their baby no more. They can't see them. They go live in the bush with a gun. Now, what kind of life is that, bro? You know what I'm saying? We live in a paradise, but it's a paradox. So I would want to hear the real stories. I want to hear you say, I'm nervous today. I'm paranoid because I can't trust my best friend because he know what I've done. Also, I'm nervous. I'm paranoid because police is coming for me. We don't tell those stories. We just talk about how we're the Don and we kill people for fun and brain cells on the wall. It's so graphic and gruesome right now. I don't want, and maybe it's a part of me that's become the parent.
Right.
You know, I'm a father of 4 years now, and I got a daughter who is just about 2 in August. She'll be 2. My son is 4. And I'm having to teach them right from wrong often. So when I hear those lyrics, also I've buried quite a few friends, my bro, from violent means. It's like I explain it like this. I have a career, and my career is singing about people jumping in this river. And I'm telling everybody, yeah, go ahead, jump in the river. It's all good. When I know rightfully and truthfully and factfully that if they jump in that river, some of them, they're going to wash away this river of violence. And actually, my own little brother goes and jumps in the river and washes away in the violence.
Wow.
And I'm supposed to turn back around and sing this again? I'm supposed to be like, yeah, I do this all the time. I kill people for fun. Know what I mean? So for me, it's just like the clashing thing along with the gun lyrics. It is too much now. And I'm being the change. I turn 180 degrees to let people see their own self. You know what I mean? There's too much times that we do that because we know that that's what the crowd likes. But as an entertainer, I believe we're here to entertain, but also to educate and edify. We're supposed to be showing people the small amount of light in these dark times. So that's where I'm at with it, man.
Gotcha. I got one more question for you real quick as we conclude the interview, because I'm real curious, because you see how hip hop industry, they glorify the beef, they glorify the violence because that sells. And then we have conversations on what impact does that have for the community and the culture, and is there an agenda to what they're trying to promote for the artists? Would you say that's the same thing when it comes to clashing and reggae and dancehall and Jamaican artists as well? Is there like an agenda behind it from the higher ups behind the scenes, in your opinion?
I've heard the argument of the agenda thing before, and honestly, if that is happening, we need to wake up. But also, if there's even no agenda, what I know is that negative energy or negative news gets more attention. It just does.
Yeah.
It gets more attention, but positive influences are more powerful. So I'm down for the positive more than the negative. So I know it's going to sell the headline. And that's what happened to me while I wrote this Lionheart song, because out of everything I said, which I said all of this in that interview, they wrote the slavery line. You know, they were like, and they knew it was going to sell papers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I'm just like out of all of that, man. I would rather big up the more positive things, or if I'm going to tell a negative story, tell it in a more real way. The song Guns and Navarone was the second song I released for this same album, Live and Living. And Guns and Navarone features Jesse Royal, a dope artist, Muta Baruka, a very potent poet, and also a philosopher, a great philosopher, and people like Stonebwoy from Africa, from Ghana. Big up Ghana. He's the only, big up Stonebwoy. He's the only non-Jamaican on the album. But he does relatively Afrobeat dancehall stuff. So, and he comes to Jamaica to produce his stuff too. That's what I rate about him, and also about Gentleman. Gentleman is an artist from Germany, and he comes here to get production and put it on his albums. So we eat from that, you know what I mean? And that's what I love. Now, when you know, I look at the genre of hip hop, started in the Bronx, and then moved to Queens and Brooklyn, and then over the West Coast and down south, and then London and friggin' France and Germany. You know what I mean? It's bound to evolve and it's bound to sound different. But if all those people didn't understand where it came from, or didn't pay attention to some of the great players in the game in the early runs, then it would kind of be watering it down to me. You know what I mean? But right. So back to the question you said, the last question you asked again, it was about it being like this conspiracy. Now, if it is that, we need to wake up, bro, because we have a powerful tool in our hands, a powerful tool in the word sound power that we could express to young minds. You know, when you teach ABCs to a kid, you don't teach them like boring A, B, C, D, E. You teach it in a song because they will remember it more. My 2-year-old is now remembering the melody of that song more than she knows what the hell is a Z or a T. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. She knows A, B, C, D, E, F, G. She gets it because of the melody. So word sound power is very important to me. And you got to be careful of what you say in life, man. What you think of becomes things. It's a definite, you know, your DNA is listening to you, bro. So even though this music is for entertainment, also we got to pay attention to what we are saying to the young villagers, the young people, because they are becoming complacent. They are thinking that violence is a normal way to solve problems, and they are coming up, and they are going to be the monsters that we're going to have to deal with. See? So, that's my thoughts on it. And I've seen hip-hop, I've seen conspiracy videos saying that there's people, you know, higher up in the hip-hop industry wanting people to talk derogatory about each other, so that the whole system, the systematic racism that exists, that we know exists, is just more and more supported by even us. So we got to wake up, and we have to find a new way to get energy out of the crowd and show the crowd a very dope song without having to be derogatory. Like, to me, Meek Mill is a dope MC. You know what I mean? Very dope MC. But then Drake, who's more popular with certain crowds, they clash, and it caused, you know, a lot of people to be like, you know, turn their back on a dope MC, on Meek Mill. You know what I mean? Then they turn around and did a song right after. So I get that can happen also. That's cool with me. But there's just too much times in hip hop and too much times in dancehall that we've segregated each other. And we already know that divide a people is to rule them, man. So we need to wake up and look at that and get back to the days when people spit like Chuck D and KRS-One and are revered for that. You know what I mean? Like, big up to people who do that, like younger artists like Lupe, Fiasco, like people, they spit some real songs, you know, they spit some real stuff. Common is one who spits something real. Kanye spits real stuff, but he mixes it up a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's confusing to me. But as I said, we as a community who enjoy the music, we need to wake up and ensure that the words and the sounds and the power that we gain is not evil and negative, because that's spilling on to generations that they need to be guided. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I didn't have positive influences in music, because I did have negative ones as well, but if I didn't have those positive ones and revere them more, then who knows what I could have been, someone who leads young people into thinking that things like that is the best way to go. No, as I said, I have friends who have died by violent means out here, and I've buried them. Their family didn't have the money for that, and I just end up feeling like, what the hell am I? Am I the Grim Reaper? Am I Mr. Death? Why do I have to bury my friend again and then go listen to this in the club, in the dance, in the street, in somebody's car driving past, in the studio? So, you know, I'm just all against it right now, bro. And I'm gonna do more songs like Guns of Navarone or Danger Zone. You could check those two out on the CD. It's talking about some real stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, definitely commend you on that, because you see the same type of thing happen like in Chicago.
Oh, drill music, crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then an artist pops up, someone answers him back with shots, man. It's crazy. And to me, I don't want my genre to be reaching in that segment. Now, we do have violence that happens. I've seen people stab each other over Shabba Ranks and Ninja Man when I was a kid. Yo, Shabba better at the songs. Now, but Ninja Man better on the stage, and they start one man picks an ice pick out and stabs the next one right here. So, like, I've seen it firsthand, so you can't tell me that the violence don't beget violence. You know what I mean? It does. That's just it.
Definitely. We got Sean Paul here on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Can you please leave your social media handles and anything you got coming up? You want to let our audience know, please, as well?
Yeah, bro. My social media, for my IG, that's at Dr. Paul. That's DUTTYPAUL. Same thing for Twitter. My Facebook is Sean Paul fan page. Just go check it out. So type in Sean Paul and go to the fan page, and it's right there. Yeah, bro, I just want to thank you guys for the time. I'm also on TikTok. I think it's at Dr. Paul as well. I don't really do much TikTok. I'm trying to get more into it, but yeah. Well, big up. Thank you for the time and being able to express myself. And to all who's listening, yeah, check out the album called Live and Living. Dope piece of work. Features heavy dancehall music, hardcore dancehall music, and artists. And the next one is called Scorcher, and that's kind of more poppy oriented, but more feel good music on. There's feel good music on both of them, and also a lot of thoughtful music. So thank you guys for checking me out.
It's been an honor, brothers.
Yes,
Legendary, iconic Sean Paul on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Go check out his new music now. Like I told you in the beginning, man, I appreciate you the first time and the last time we busted it up in Atlantic City. You smoked me out. I know you don't remember that, but I definitely appreciate you, Brian. We appreciate it, man. Sean Paul on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast.
Yes.
Salute.
Respect, bro. Salute. Thank you.